Today's focus, boys and girls, will be Indonesia. In Indonesia, we have not one but two separate subjects of bipedal primates. The star of the show is none other than Orang-Pendek, a bipedal primate hidden somewhere in the jungles of Sumatra. The lesson will include input from none other than Mr. Adam Davies, pretty much the top dog in this field. But we will get to our hairy friend in just a moment. First, let's get anthropological. Let's talk about the diversity of our human family tree. Indonesia is a hotbed for our ancestral fossil search. A lot of reading on my personal obsession, Bigfoot, has led me back here to a species of hominid called Meganthropus on a couple of occasions. And when I say led me back here, I mean Google search. But to sell a big idea, we need to start small. So join me on a journey back to Middle Earth. Or Indonesia, whatever you want to call it. Heard of real-life hobbits? No, I don't mean little people. Well, I take that back, I kinda do. But not like you think. I mean really little people. A whole race. As recently as 13,000 years ago, roughly, other hominids existed alongside Homo sapiens. We had little ones, big ones, medium ones. Kinda like Middle Earth. That's what I'm saying. Alright, I'll stop. Back to our subject. Homo Floresiensis. The real hobbit, as it's been dubbed by the scientific community. Fossil remains were discovered less than a decade ago on the Indonesian island of Flores. But way before the discovery, there had been much folklore and handed down stories about these little men that inhabit the island. So the discovery of a species distinct from modern humans not only came as a shock to science, it proved the worth of ancient folklore. Once again, word of the local people is proving to be an extremely powerful source of information. Since Homo Floresiensis became extinct somewhere between 13,000 and 18,000 years ago, it is certain that early humans would have encountered these little men. While this is merely a blip of time when talking paleontology, in terms of the modern human memory, handing down extremely accurate information over hundreds and hundreds of generations doesn't seem too likely. Local claims would have placed them on the island as recently as 100 years ago, which in my opinion would account for the accuracy in their storytelling. But alas, storytelling it will remain. Although there have been a few sporadic accounts of orang-pendek, or tiny men, from several years back, in all likelihood, they're extinct now. But imagine the possibilities if we would take local claims a little more seriously from time to time. Makes you wonder. On the other side of the country, on the island of Sumatra, locals are speaking about a feisty little guy wreaking havoc on their farms. These stories are frequent, they share amazing similarities, and are considered fact by citizens of the area. And most importantly, they're happening now. Maybe it's time we listen seriously about what they have to say. Okay, you ready? Let's talk about Orang-Pendek, which translates to short person. I rather enjoy his nickname, Littlefoot. Why is this so important? Why do we obsess over the existence of any bipedal creature? As a species, we struggle with our own mortality, so we search, and more often than not, we turn to our past for the answers to our future. Neanderthal, Homo erectus, Homo Floresiensis, what happened? Why did these earlier men go extinct? Why? Because surroundings change, habitats disappear, the food chain alters, global catastrophe. Whatever the event, humans of the past have changed, and we've altered into what we have become today. This primate is very possibly on the verge of extinction, and should that happen, we will miss yet another opportunity to learn about ourselves as a species. Now, just to be clear, let me state once again that Orang-Pendek and Homo Floresiensis are considered to be two separate things. When I asked Adam Davies what he had to say on the topic, here was his response. I think that Homo Floresiensis and Orang-Pendek are two entirely different species. Firstly, Homo Floresiensis displayed a culture and sophistication way beyond that of Orang-Pendek. For example, Homo Floresiensis displayed both tool and fire use. There are no accounts of Orang-Pendek having such skills. Its tool use seems on par with chimpanzees. Secondly, the Orang-Pendek is much more physically robust. I have seen evidence of its ability to lift logs with relative ease, tossing them aside as it moves through the forest, which 4 grown men struggle to do. Also, eyewitnesses have again described the Orang-Pendek as being completely covered in hair, with extensive musculature development. Homo Floresiensis, in comparison, is much weaker. My next question for Mr. Adam Davies: are people just seeing an orangutan? His response: I'm not sure what the Orang-Pendek is, but it's certainly not an orangutan as most people would understand them. There are no orangutans in that part of the island. All eyewitnesses I have interviewed are struck by its bipedal locomotion. It is an ape that has adapted to walk bipedally. It may be a variant of the orangutan population that has adapted to do this, but that must remain speculation until we have DNA analysis. It's obviously very rare. Villagers who live in the area consider themselves extremely fortunate to see one in their lifetime. Given the encroachment of forest, it seems likely they are confined now to a small area of Kerinci Sebalt National Forest in western Sumatra. If there are more than a few hundred, I would be very surprised, and that would be a very generous estimate. So with all seriousness, can we just listen to the locals this one time? Can we help ourselves for just a few years and stop smashing the landscape until we know what the hell it is we're smashing? Come on, people. Can I get an amen? No? How about a maybe? No? Just a go f yourself? Sound about right? We are approaching a population of almost 7 billion. Resources are depleting. The molecular structure of our food has changed. Our landscape has changed. Yet our current human form has not changed with it. Let me ask you this. Ever heard of singularity or nanobots? Could our own DNA change? Will this current form become obsolete too? Will modern man see extinction at the hand of future man? The anthropological history found in the Indonesian islands would certainly suggest so. Now you're at home or at work just watching this video on this little mind-altering experience we call the internet, or as Dian Ward likes to say, the interweb. You're not asking me for my opinion. I'm just some asshole who's pretty good at telling a story and knows how to edit it all together. But since you've made it this far, let me leave you with this. We have tragically lost cultures in the past. We will most certainly lose them again. We've desecrated peoples and burnt down libraries. So slow down, expand your box of ideas, consider where we are going, and consider where we came from.